I started doing vipassana before I knew that it was called vipassana several years ago. I knew it only as mindful concentration meditation, and it helped me overcome some very serious anxiety. The idea that I could just watch the anxiety without fighting it was very simple and profound, and something that I had somehow made it through life without knowing. I then went on a 7-day retreat. The retreat center was more like a vacation resort than a retreat center, and they didn't expect very much from the yogis. But the basic instruction was correct, and it got me interested. I came here not knowing what to expect. I knew trustworthy people who told me that the teachers here were trustworthy. With faith in the practice's benefits in my life and trust in the teachers, my two intentions were to try hard and to follow the instructions. I expected the first week to be hard. I was prepared for possibly 2 weeks of great difficulty. But after 2 weeks, it will be smooth sailing, is what I told myself. I did not expect all of December to be so incredibly difficult. On the second day, Sayadawgyi called us out for fidgeting during the Dhamma talk. I silently screamed, "But I'm in pain." But the talk became the one sit of the day where I had the motivation to truly stand up to my pain. And I learned that it will go away on its own by patiently noting pain, just like anxiety had in the past. Pain was conquered completely in about a week and a half. And Sayadawgyi pointed out that this would build confidence in the practice. And this confidence is what kept me here through December. Confidence and a very long airplane ride across the Pacific Ocean to get home. There is no doubt that I would have gone home at Christmas time if this retreat were in the USA. Because most of December was spent dealing with remorse. Remorse would come up in an instant and be intense enough to make me lose any and all mindfulness, open my eyes, and put my hands to my face. This happened at least 2 or 3 times in most sits, and on the 24th I have written down that I would experience a desire to leave in every sitting that would cause me to put my knees to my chest while waiting for it to pass. And Christmas was very difficult. It was the first Christmas in my life of being away from family. And so there was no sudden realization or epiphany or moment of triumph that turned this around, but on December 29th I saw my first sign of progress since pain over 3 weeks earlier. I noticed that there was a decision to start my in-breaths. The sensation of the decision was new to me, and it confused me. It was like sharing a brain with someone else who was deciding for me to breathe in, and I could see the decision. 6 days later, I started to experience self-doubt. I thought, it took me a month to get to Nama and Rupa. I do not want the next sign of progress to take another month. What if I don't make any more progress? Sayadawgyi said more time won't help if you aren't trying. If I go another week without something, I can always go to a resort in Thailand, but just keep trying. The very next day, movements started to appear broken up in my walking, and I could see lots of little jerks in my leg movement. I also started to notice that when my attention left my abdomen, to notice a heartbeat, that when it came back to the rising, it felt like a different breath. January repeated this pattern. I would start to feel like a driver, impatient for the next indication that I was on course, and then it would appear. I was aided greatly by something said in the Dhamma talk about how to just try to note what we can. I think that many Westerners don't know how to try hard without straining ourselves. On the 13th, I had my first inclination to call notings of emotions minds. There was no pain. There was no one object that caused this, but the noted mind just didn't feel like I was the one having an emotion anymore. On the same day, I noted cautious bliss that remained dominant for a long time, interrupted only by shadows of the remorse and doubt that had haunted me earlier. They were a reminder that mindfulness was an effective way of handling them by being in the present, but I had not discovered a magic spell to make them disappear. Soon I experienced PD signs off and on for several days. Meals tasted like the greatest sense pleasure I've ever experienced, and I had to slow down and eat a lot less to maintain noting and mindfulness. When PD went away, I was scared that I had fallen backwards in my practice, but my noting picked up, and noting knowing in the middle of movements and intention to blink in a rapid series of thoughts and knowings came up. One sitting, I was noting a string of notings and noticings. Each knowing was a knowing of the one that came before it. My head felt large and empty, and the stream was rapid, and all that was present. I want to believe that this stream was momentary extinguishing of self, but the ending of the retreat caused anticipation to arise, and my concentration was lost. I know what I experienced, but I only think I know what it means, and the desire to gain certainty of this experience will just have to serve as motivation to do a second retreat. And for the Dhamma family, in America, most retreat centers you have to pay to go. And as soon as I arrived here, the support was just immediately felt. And all through the retreat, I could tell I was being looked out for. And I just want to thank you so much, and all of the fellow yogis, for your sincere efforts and support, and the Sayadawgyi and the teachers and the volunteers. Just thank you very, very much.